Hello everybody, it's Sarah again. This is another coloring book review and flip through for Fantasy Adventure, Dragons, Dwarves, Elves, and Other Extraordinary Creatures. This book is illustrated by Eric Messinger. Dimensions of the book are just a little over 8.5 inches wide and 11 inches tall. So this is your typical standard paper size book. So let me zoom in here just a minute and tell you a little bit more about this. This book is phenomenally done. Really good. Here is the back. You will notice that it says that this has acid-free paper. The paper, it says, is good for 200 years, which is kind of cool. This is from Fair Trade, Artist Fair Trade Guarantee Seal of Approval, which means that the artists and people involved in creating the book are getting fair wages. The designs are original. Let's see. The MSRP is $9.99 in US, $9.99 in Canada, and $5.99 in the UK. Here is, if I can get it to focus, the ISBN number. And also by Eric is that book right there, which is right here. And I will have a review for that coming up in the next couple weeks. So, back to this book. Front cover, spine, back cover. Let's see. There is the thickness of the book. It's a pretty decently sized book. Inside, you're going to find a fantastic layout. I wish all coloring books were done like this, honestly. It's very nice. Let me see here. They even have perforated pages. Let me move my light here. It's glaring on stuff. There. Actually, hang on just a second. Okay, so you will see here, it says, "Welcome to a new and magical world." It tells a bit about the book, a little bit about Eric. This is about Eric here. Over here, you will see the magic color wheel, which is kind of nice to show you different things. It talks about the color spectrum up here. Over here, I don't know why my lights are just not working. The pages are glossy, which doesn't help with the glare. We're going to try that. Okay, so it goes through color terminology. It goes through primary, secondary, complementary colors. Let's see. Talks about coloring and different coloring tips over here, different areas. It points out how they've done certain things, shadows and different things like that. It talks about down here, talks about the different gradients and how you can layer colors. It's pretty cool. Over here, it talks about blending colors. How do I make that color? Talks about digital coloring. And this is all Eric's artwork. Gives examples. Now now you actually come to the pages that you can color. So I'm going to turn my light back up since these ones are not glary. Paper quality is nice. They are one-sided. On the back there is a quote. Paper quality is a thinner cardstock type of paper. All of these pages are perforated. Notice the perforations here. And you'll notice that some of these pictures are the ones that were in the front of the book up here. But they're already colored. They look similar. So it kind of gives you examples of how to do different things. Now, the further back you go, it's going to give examples here. So any of them that have this on it means that it was shown in the front of the book. So let me go back to find that one and show you here. Here is the picture colored. Here is the picture not colored. Here are the colors that were used, some of them. And it has a little tiny example of what the picture in the front cover looked like. Which is nice because you can take your colored pencils and have them in your hand and compare to see if this is the right color. So I thought that was pretty cool. So again, this is one that was in the front. It has these here, and I wanted to say that I know this may look annoying to have it down here, but this is not only perforated here along the side, but it's perforated along the bottom so that you can tear this part off after you're done. So it's still not going to get in the way of your picture. And these are so nicely done. I mean, look at that quality. I mean, it's beautifully drawn. They're all his own designs. There's a lot of detail in here. A lot of really nice area for shading. It's pretty cool. So as far as what mediums would be great in this book on this type of paper, because they are one-sided, it would be fine for the alcohol markers, especially since you can tear them out and use them on another surface. Colored pencils, watercolor would also be fine. The paper quality is thick enough that it's not watercolor paper, but it's good enough that watercolor is not going to damage it if you're careful. Pastels, crayons, gel pens, anything like that's going to work really nice in this book. My personal preference, I would probably go with colored pencils. I love colored pencils. I think you can do just about anything with them, and I think they look really nice and crisp when you're done. I would also probably use some alcohol markers in areas as well. And you can always layer alcohol markers underneath a colored pencil. So keep that in mind when you're doing this. If you have a large area, If you have a large area of skin, you can do with the alcohol markers, especially if you have like the Prisma kind or something like that, that have a lot of different color choices. You can always do that and then go back over and shade with colored pencil. And that kind of saves on your colored pencils and your hands. Kind of makes it nice. Other water-based mediums would be fine too. The Neocolor 2s, any of the watercolor colored pencils would be fine. Like Derwent's colored pencils that are watercolor would be fine. Even the Prismacolor ones, any of those type would be fine. The gelatos would also be okay. Because of the detail in some of these pictures, I would stay away from the gelatos just because you don't have a lot of easy play with them. You'd almost have to do the big areas if you're rubbing them on. If you're doing the little areas, you could probably paintbrush them on. And then on the back page, there is another few examples of different artwork that's in the book. So that is Fantasy Adventure, Dragons, Dwarves, Elves, and Other Extraordinary Creatures by Eric Messinger. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy coloring, and don't forget to be kind to one another.